Started. So, like to welcome to the process of hip hop all the way from Tampa, Florida. My man Zace, what's going on, player?
What's going on? What's going on? How's everything?
Hey, man, it's great, man. So glad you were able to join the show. So, Zace, we were talking just a pre-interview, man, about you're from Tampa, Florida. But
Yes.
tell me about again your background, man, and how you got interested in hip hop.
Being like born in New York, like all of my family is all pretty much from New York, so they had that East Coast, that New York, like rap, hip hop influence on me. So like my dad's always playing his tapes and stuff, and like my uncle's always showing me like a lot of other rappers like Nas, Jay Z, and
Mhm.
Big Pun, like always showing me that golden era of hip hop.
Yeah.
So like I really had that heavily influenced on me. So like around like 8 or 9, I started just writing, and I was like, man, like like this is something I want to do. So I just started doing that, and then around like 12, one of my uncles, he goes by Knowledge. He actually showed me this program called FL Studio. So I just started making beats from there too. So from then on, it was like I'm writing music and I'm making beats, doing as much as I can by myself.
hmm and and it always helps to have you have extended family or family that's either hip hop heads themselves because you kind of get
Right.
indoctrinated whether you like it or not. So I mean, is there certain artists? You talked about Pun, Nas, Jay Z, but are there certain artists that when you started to craft your style that you were really, not you don't patting yourself after, but I'll just say inspired by or influenced by?
Yeah, definitely. Like you got Nas with the storytelling, you got Big Pun with like the multi-syllable rhymes, and like Jay-Z being as witty as he is, and like Eminem with like all the way that Eminem like crafts every line, it's crazy. So like I just started trying to do that, and like from watching that and or listening to that and watching like battle rap and stuff like that too, like just learning how to put words together and how to basically like say certain things without just saying it so like bluntly and like in almost in a boring way. You know what I mean? So like
Mm-hmm.
just as creative as possible.
And there's an art of rap. Delivery
Right.
is part of it, and then the other part of it is your content. And your best MCs know how to marry those two. They have their content and their delivery is there. There's some and that's not easy. That's definitely takes work. It takes time. Tell me about the moment, man. You talked about writing at, starting at 8 or 9. What was the moment that you felt like you were announcing to the world, so to speak, that you were an MC? What was that moment like?
So that was probably around like man, I was probably in like sixth grade or seventh grade. And like I started that was like around that time MySpace was still big. So you could
Yeah.
have like, your regular page and then your music page. So I got like this little like cheap USB microphone and started like recording over other beats and then posting it on my MySpace page. So I think that was like really like the moment for me to be like, all right, now everybody knows like I make music. And that
Mhm.
was that.
So when you say when you were making beats and you were also obviously an MC, do you still do that, or was there a time you started to work with other producers?
So I actually started working with other producers more recently.
Mhm.
I started working with my man produced by Jay Sayer on the beats, and my man Rome, all like nasty producers. They make they make just the craziest beats, but like it definitely took some time for me to like transition because I'm so used to just doing it myself. So like
Mhm.
to be like, all right, now you have these other producers that can help you, and so that you don't have to do so much and that you can learn from. That was definitely a big change for me, but I'm glad that like that I started working with them too.
So your very first project that you actually produced, was that you that did it, or was it those individuals? Like, where you actually had a project that you put out? Who was on the production on that?
So that was all me. The first two projects that I put out, just all my own production. Did a couple like freestyles on like industry beats, but like for all the produced songs that I did, well, pretty much all the songs there were all produced by me.
hmm So I mean, you've now worked with other producers. Do you see yourself still producing some of your own things and working with, I mean, 50-50, or how do you see yourself moving forward? What would you like to do?
So I definitely just I still produce for myself a lot. So like like we all kind of communicate with each other, and like if I get like stuck, usually like if I'm like, man, like I really want to make a certain beat to fit a certain song, but it's just not coming out on my end, that's when like usually I'll hit them up and be like, yo, like let me see what you guys got, like, and they'll hit me up, they'll send me beats or whatever. Like we have a pretty strong team. It's me and my man Joey Els. He also raps too. So like between me and him, he was connected to these producers already, so then he got me connected with them, so now like we're all kind of just working together.
Hmm.
But I definitely produce a lot of my own stuff still
And,
too.
and you see yourself continuing to do that?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Hmm. I think once you start the process of producing your own tracks, it's hard to give that up because
Right.
I would say that's not common. Most artists don't do that. They're from the very beginning. They were either, like you said, either rapping on an industry beat or somebody else was producing their stuff for them. But when you've done that, so I mean, I think of, you know, Kanye. I think of Dre. Obviously Rakim produced a lot of his stuff, and it's like they still were involved. They never stopped. They're going to continue, whether they're, some kind of move more towards the production side, and then some stay both. But so, and being from Tampa, man, I mean, when you think of Florida, the Miami hip hop scene is obviously big, but
Right.
the internet at the same time kind of levels the playing field. But is there, do you feel, obviously you have roots in New York City, but do you feel a certain kind of way being from Tampa, or do you get a response like Tampa hip hop, or do you not experience that at all?
Um, no, I don't really experience that too much. I mean, just like my own opinion on it is just like it kind of makes it that more of a challenge to be like, all right, now like we got to show that there's more in this city too. Like Florida's not just Miami and South Florida in general. It like there's a whole other side of it. It's like we do a lot of stuff. Like I'm not only in Tampa but in Orlando as well.
Yeah.
So like there's definitely like a music scene in both that just hasn't like it just hasn't reached a certain level of respect yet where like that like Miami has. But there's definitely the talent there.
Yeah, hip hop is global. So I always say there's hip hop in 50 states, every territory, and there's MCs that are dope in all of those territories. But it's just it when you're from a region or a certain area, I kind of feel like you get big ups, and you get, just because you're from, it's like, oh well, he's from New York, or he's from, LA, he must be. And it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean that, nor does it mean if you're from a under, appreciated area, I'll say that you're not. So where would you like to see yourself, man, 1 to 3 years from now?
1 to 3 years, definitely like a lot more well known, a lot more followers up there, but like just a bigger fan base, honestly, and just really like having music be like that main source of income for one. Definitely want to be working with a lot other artists that I look up to and stuff, and working with a lot of different producers as well.
Hmm. Did were you doing live shows pre-COVID, man? And are you planning on getting back to that when we
Yeah.
this whole thing, man?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely was doing a few live shows, like, so like I definitely know how to perform. Like that's one of the best things, which is one of the saddest parts of all of this stuff that's going on, is like not being able to perform.
Yeah,
It's tough because like that's a big way for like any local artist to gather more fans,
absolutely.
because like people they might not know your songs yet, but the way that you perform can definitely make them make that decision to choose to know those songs, to want to know them, and want to hear you.
And MC stands for Master of Ceremonies, and
Exactly.
we say you are a performer. You know, I've seen your IG page, man. You definitely got a swag. You definitely got a, I'll just say uh, just a your whole demeanor, man, is definitely you're comfortable in front of the camera, and not all MCs are that way, and not all MCs are performers. You have some men that are very much good in the studio, but To be an MC, you have to have a performance side to you that's also good. And something that you continue to work on. I, remember thinking that, or remember reading, Jay-Z learned so much from Big Daddy Kane. When Big Daddy Kane is one of the all-time great performers in hip hop,
Right.
let alone an MC. So, it's definitely I asked that question because I said COVID just, put the smack on everything, but you get back to that eventually. But so what's the best way, man, for people to stay in contact with you, stay abreast of what you're doing?
So definitely my Instagram and my Twitter, all both of them are at This Is Zace. So I just try to keep it at This Is Zace for everything. So across all pretty much all social media, you can find me just by searching This Is Zace.
Okay, well, man, when you drop your next project, man, I want you to come back on the process of hip hop, but want to wish you much success, man. Best of luck to you in all your future endeavors.
For sure, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
All right. You too.
All right, man. So I'm a